I'm going to take this prime New York strip, grill it to perfection, and along the way, I'm going to see if I can replace these spray oil bottles with the new Srtip Olivier oil sprayer. I'm Johnny. You're watching A View to a Grill. I'll go ahead and get the fire started while we're preparing the Golden's cast iron Kamado. One thing I want you to notice is take a look at how black and seasoned everything in this Kamado is. And that's because I go through a lot of this kind of spray oil, which is why I need to replace it with a less expensive alternative. Here is the Srtip Olivier spray oil bottle, and to get started all we need to do is remove this safety clip, and now we're ready to spray oil. I'll fill the bottle up with some avocado oil, and I filled it up just below the maximum line. We'll get everything tightened up and test this thing out. And check out the even spray that's coming out of the sprayer. Looks like it's going to be a great replacement for the traditional canned oil sprayer. I'll be reusing my charcoal. I like to knock off some of the old ash before reusing. And then I can get the bottom vent opened. Now the fire in the chimney starter is not quite ready, so let's go ahead and prepare our rub. In a container, let's pour in 4 tablespoons of coarse kosher salt, 3 tablespoons of coarse ground black pepper, 1 tablespoon of granulated garlic, and 1 tablespoon of Mexican oregano. We'll give all of that a shake, and when you're done, you'll have a rub that looks like this. So now let's preheat our Golden's cast iron Kamado. We'll just pour that right on top of our old coals and then spread that around for even heat distribution. I'll get the cast iron grates back on and just spray a little oil on the grates to loosen up any leftover material from our last cook. I'll use my whisk broom to brush off any of that material and then wipe it off with a cloth. And you can see here that that is something that you need to do when working with cast iron. Now I can get the lid closed, and I'm going to let this preheat for about 15 minutes. While the Kamado is preheating, let's prepare our steak. Just to show you what I'm working with, I have a prime New York strip from H-E-B. Now here's something controversial. I do not like all the fat on the outside of my steak, so I'm going to trim that off. Naturally, if you enjoy eating that fat, then you would leave yours on, but for me, I like to trim it off. Now you're going to want to pat your steak dry and then give it a light coating of spray oil just to give that rub that we made something to adhere to. Now, since this steak is so thick, I'm going to go ahead and give it a pretty generous coating. Also, making sure I get the sides of the steak. Now we can flip that over, give the other side a light coating of oil, and then finish seasoning the steak. Here's what our finished seasoned steak looks like. You can see it's a generous coating, but you can still see the steak through the layer of seasoning. Now that our steak is seasoned, it's time to get the steak on. Now remember, our grill has been going for about 15 minutes, so it has actually burned off some additional material left over from our last cook. Let's go ahead, brush that off, and wipe it down with a towel again. And you can see that it still takes off some old material. I like my grill grates to be around 400 degrees before I put the steak on, and as you can see, we're right there. Now I'll start the steak off on one side of the grill grates, close that lid, and let it go for about 4 minutes. 4 minutes later, we'll get the lid open and we'll flip the steak and put it on the other side of the grill grates and give it about 4 minutes. Now 4 minutes later, get the lid open. Now I'm going to work on searing the sides of the steak, and I'm also going to sneak in a quick temperature check. I'll continue searing the sides, and then finally we've hit a temperature of 130 degrees of internal temperature with 8 to 10 degrees of carryover. That should get us into the high 130s or at about 140 degrees, which is medium rare. Now I'm just going to let that steak rest for about 10 minutes, and then it'll be time to taste our results. Now if you don't know, I have an Instagram page. If you don't mind going over to Instagram, giving me a follow at View to a Grill, one word, I'd appreciate it a lot. And 10 minutes later, let's cut this steak open and check out what it looks like. So to me, it looks like we hit our temperature, and it looks pretty good. Now let's take a slice off, and I'll give you a quick closer look so you can see all the details inside the steak. Beautiful color, juicy, and the taste, well, yeah, you already knew. The taste was fantastic. Come on. And then finally, just for some grill maintenance, I'm going to give the cast iron grill grates a light coating of oil. I'll rub that oil in, get the sear plate back on, close the lid, close the vents, and we're done with this cook. Now, I have been in contact with Flairosol, and they have agreed to give me a link and a 10% discount code, which you can find below in a pinned comment. Now, if you haven't already subscribed to View to a Grill, you should do that right now. Thank you for watching A View to a Grill. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, y'all.